So, Tim, let's talk a little bit about A plus today.
Yeah, absolutely. We just came back from the national convention out there in Baltimore, and met a lot of people that we knew, and then met a lot of new people that we hadn't met with before.
Yeah, it's always so exciting to go out there, and the whole organization just has the best vibe.
They do.
We run into a lot of different organizations, but A plus, everybody's so friendly, and it's just a joy to go out there and spend time with them for the 4 or 5 days that we're out there.
Absolutely. And, we're looking forward to seeing them again. Next summer we're going to Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico,
right?
Yeah. Should
It's gonna be
exciting.
Fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. A little vacation, a little business as well.
Right.
And get to meet with all the Postal employees out there and the A plus members so we can help educate them about all their benefits.
And we've been spending a lot of time doing a lot of different webinars for different chapters.
Yeah.
I know you just got back from Atlanta, got to tour a facility, the brand new facility in Atlanta. Talk a little bit about that.
Wow. These facilities are amazingly big. This one I was at was over 650,000 square feet. Talk about walking into a place where the ceilings are 100 feet tall and there's machines going and people everywhere, forklift. I mean, things are just happening.
Yeah.
And they're happening 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
The mail moves, guys. The mail moves 24 hours a day. It's amazing.
And how many pieces did they say that they were going to move through that facility in 24 hours?
Yeah, in one day, about 4 to 5 million pieces of mail.
Unbelievable.
And it's crazy. It's very fascinating to see how the process with the U.S. Postal Service works.
Yeah.
And then obviously to meet with all the great folks there, the craft employees that we know need a lot of help, a lot of the EAS managers, helping them understand everything about their postal benefits and retirement options, whether they've been there for, 2 years, 2 minutes, or 20 or 30 years. In fact, we met somebody that had been there 47 years.
That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I looked at the guy and I said, "Why are you still here?" And, he's like, "Well, I just want to get to that magical number of 50.
Yeah. So he's civil service.
He's civil service, which they're very few far in between civil service left, but he's one of them. And, he appreciated the information that we provided to him and looks to reach out to us when he's ready to retire.
That's great. That's great. So yeah, you guys, if you guys need any help, we're happy to do these webinars, each individual chapter. I think we've done probably a handful.
Yeah.
Reach out to us, and we're happy on Sunday evenings. That's when we've been doing them most of the time, to go through and do a webinar, an educational webinar, to make sure your folks understand their benefits completely.
Yeah, absolutely. You can check us out, postalbluebookhelp.com. Click on the link, fill out the information there. If you're a manager, a chapter president, or anything like that, feel free to reach out to us. Joe or I will get back in touch with you and get it scheduled for a weekend. We find weekends are much more beneficial for everybody because they're normally off or they've worked the early shift and they have the rest of the afternoon or evening. So reach out to us. Be happy to schedule a webinar with you and get the information in all of your people's hands.
All right, let's talk a little bit about TSP, Tim.
It's a favorite topic.
A lot of different things to cover within the TSP. I think the first thing we should talk about is allocation models for folks that are in different periods of their career.
Sure. Yep.
So, obviously people that are 30 to 50 or 20 to 50 in that range, where do you think they should sit as far as allocation models?
Yeah, we come across a lot of folks that are like, well, I'm keeping it simple. I'm going to be in the G fund. When you're young in your career or in your, for age for that matter, 20s, 30s, 40s, you want to be aggressive. Everybody aspires to be that TSP millionaire, right? Right. But the only way you're going to have a potential for being that TSP millionaire is being inside of like CS&I, or, if you're in your 20s or 30s, being in a longer date target fund, the L2060 or 2065, because that's going to have the most aggressive funds. We like to call them the casino funds?
The casino funds. And I think, people get concerned about that because, they see what happened Friday, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We had a huge drop in the market on Friday. But young people shouldn't worry about that sort of stuff, because when the market does drop and they're contributing to the TSP, they're just buying those shares at a lower price.
Right.
So when it does go back up, they're gonna realize those gains.
Yeah, absolutely. So, talking about contributions, Joe, we want to make sure that they're at least putting in the 5% so they get that 5% free money.
Sure.
Anybody that doesn't like free money, you're going to get a slap in the face. You
Right.
want to make sure you're contributing at least 5%. And then let's talk a little bit about when should they start increasing those contributions and what the max contributions are.
Yeah, and I think the easiest way for folks to go about doing it the right way is, let's say you start your career, you have the 5% that you're contributing, you get the 5% match. What we tell everybody is to, every year when you either get a raise or a COLA increase, because you are going to get one of those every
Sure.
year,
Yep.
make that contribution 1% more. So, this year when you get that raise in January, go from 5% to 6%.
Yeah.
And then from 6% the next year to 7%. And if you continue to do that over the course of your career, you will be a TSP millionaire
Absolutely.
without question.
Absolutely. And, making sure you understand that. If you have questions about it, you can reach out to one of us or to our entire team, postalbluebookhelp.com, and we can discuss that. We can analyze your current TSP and figure out what you should be in and start looking at your contribution levels.
Yeah.
Um, the max limit that you can put in, if you're under 50, it's 23,500. If you're 50 or older, you have the $7,000 catch up in 2025. So if you have the ability to, obviously you want to get to the max contribution, because then you're getting the max contribution, you're getting the 5% match. You'll be a TSP millionaire.
Right.
And who doesn't want to be a millionaire?
Absolutely. Right. So let's talk a little bit now. We talk about 20 to 50. What about 50 to whenever they go to retire?
Yeah.
Is it time to start pumping the brakes, as we would call it,
Sure.
inside of the TSP? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when you're within 5-7 years of retirement, you want to start pumping the brakes a little bit. Start looking at a little bit more conservative model. That's the G fund. Everybody knows that returns on average about 2.5%, right? Right now, still not hedging inflation, but we want to be mindful of that as we get closer to retirement.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're not in those casino funds throwing craps or, playing blackjack, whatever. We don't want another 2008 to happen and then have to work another 15 years to make that time up.
Yeah, and the G fund's great. I mean, you can also look at those target funds as
Sure.
well if you want to have a little bit, or stay a little bit aggressive inside of the TSP. You can do an L2025 fund or
Sure.
an L2030 fund,
Yeah.
to where the majority of your money's still going to be inside of the G fund,
Yep.
but you still have a little bit inside of the other funds
Yeah.
that are more aggressive.
CES and I, you still have a little bit of equity exposure, right?
Right.
So when the market's rallying, you're getting some bump in your TSP balance. But again, once you're in that 50, 55 range and you're here within 5 years of retirement, you want to be a little bit more conservative.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about, we get a lot of calls and people asking us about Social Security.
Yep.
So, in the case, should I take Social Security at 62? Should I take it at 65? Should I take it at 67? What is the right age?
Yep. It depends.
Right.
For everyone, it's a different situation, right? What our advisors do is we sit down with you and we do an analysis of figuring out, do you need that income, right? If you are getting ready to retire and you're going to be on your FERS pension, right? And then some of those that qualify for the special supplement, which is, minimum retirement age and 30 years of service or 60 and 20 years of service, you may receive that special supplement for a couple years,
Yeah.
right? But then that supplement goes away at 62 years young. And then that's the biggest time when people start questioning, you know what? The supplement's going away. At 62, I'm eligible for Social Security. Do I start collecting it or not?
And in most cases, if you guys aren't going back to work, it does make sense to take Social Security at 62. We'll give you guys a full breakdown of what that looks like financially for you, and also talk a little bit about age 62 to 67. A lot of people say, well, I want full Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
But you're missing 5 years of payments if you don't take it till 67.
Right.
So
Right.
let's talk a little bit about that and what the difference is.
Yeah.
And the example I usually give is, if at 62 your Social Security is $2,000
Mm-hmm.
and at 67 it's $3,000, and people say that's a big difference of $1,000. But if you take 60 or $2,000 times 5 years, it's about $125,000 that you did not collect.
Right. That's a lot of money.
And Tim's famous saying is, we don't have a crystal ball, you guys,
I wish we did.
right? We don't know what's going to happen from 62 to 67. And those are usually the years that you guys are still really, really active and
Sure.
wanting to go out and, enjoy the fruits of your labor that you've put away in your TSP, and also, utilizing your Social Security if you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I mean, in that example, Joe, so somebody that is their age 62 Social Security is $2,000. If they worked with the Postal Service for 30 years, they're going to get 75% of that, right? They're going to get $1,500 a month in their supplement. So if they get that from 57 to 62 and they're used to getting $1,500 a month, and then at 62, we know the supplement stops.
Right.
Do we think that you're not going to want that $1,500 or $2,000, which is your Social Security at 62? You're not going to want that because you've been used to receiving $1,500 of it. Most people are going to want to get that extra $2,000 a month.
Of course. And in most cases, not all cases, you guys, that's why it's important to reach out to us and talk to us. It usually makes sense for people that are completely retired, that aren't going back to work and
Right.
making money outside of their pension, take Social Security at 62.
Absolutely. And the reason some people caution or pump the brakes and say, well, I don't know if I want to collect at 62. I want to wait till 65 or 67, full retirement age, is they're so concerned about, well, there's an earning limit. I can only make so much money. Well, couple things. A lot of people won't go back to work after they retire because they've done a great job in their TSP, what we just talked about,
Right.
and they're going to, well, I'm going to have enough income, right? It boils down to, do I want to get the money that I've paid into Social Security my entire life? Do I want to start receiving it now? To your point, Joe, if you wait, you gave up possibly $120,000 in your example, right? And if you don't collect that and then tragedy happens, you pass away, you just gave up all that money that you would have received because you paid into it your entire life, entire career for that matter, and you get nothing. Right. Your survivor might get a survivor benefit of Social Security, half of your Social Security, or if theirs is more, they're not going to get half of yours. So there's a lot of things to talk about, which is why when we meet with folks, we do an actual analysis of your specific situation to make sure that it makes good business and financial sense. And for some people it does, and for some people it doesn't.
Sure.
Right. So there's going to be that break-even point. Right now this year it's a little over $23,000 that you can make in part-time work if you are collecting either the supplement or Social Security at age 62. Now, if you retire, you're collecting Social Security, and then at 63 years old, some company decides to offer you $75,000, $100,000 a year, go ahead and take it. Who cares that your special supplement or Social Security is going to get reduced? Take the larger amount of income.
Sure.
But if you're worried about making more than $23,000 a year, just make right up to $23,000, work part-time, work 10 hours a week or whatever, and don't make more than that.
Right. Yeah. And when we break it down for folks, in most cases, if you wait till 67 years old, it will take you till 77
Right.
to make up the difference of that $125,000.
Sure. Yeah.
Are you more active when you're 67 or 62 or 77?
Right.
So in most cases, that's why, we would advise, not all cases, most cases, people to take Social Security at 62.
Yeah. And, you think about that $120,000, even if you don't need it because you have plenty of income, maybe with you and your spouse, you have your pension, you have Social Security or special supplement, maybe that $120,000 you're able to invest. And over that 10 to 15 year period you're talking about to get to 77, make on average 8%.
Right.
That's a lot of money that you're giving up for the opportunity to increase your overall income.
Yep. All right, Tim, let's talk a little bit about Roth versus traditional TSP.
It's a big subject that we get a lot of questions about when we're meeting with folks is, they came out with this Roth 5 to 7 years ago or less than 10 years ago. What should I do? Should I put it in the Roth or should I put it in the traditional? So the answer is it depends. Right. I am a big proponent of, if you're a young contributor inside of the TSP as a federal employee, right, I'm a big advocate of put your money your contributions in the Roth TSP, because the money goes in, your contribution goes in after they take taxes out on your paycheck. But then that contribution grows tax-free and comes out tax-free. Now, they don't allow the match to be the 5% match. That's going to be traditional. So that's going to be tax deferred, right? But putting majority of your money in, growing tax-free, and then when you retire, whether it's 5 years later or 20 or 30 years later, we talked about TSP millionaires, having $1 million of tax-free money that you can use in retirement. Talk about how sweet that would be.
Yeah. And, do you want to pay the taxes while you're working
Mm-hmm.
or when you're retired and
Right.
you're starting to pull the money out?
Right.
If you can financially afford to do it, it just makes better business sense to put it on the Roth side, because you're going to still have both. Like you said,
Of course.
you're going to have the traditional side of the 5% match if
Yep.
you're contributing 5%. So you're still going to have both, but it just makes better sense to put it in on the Roth side.
It does. And we've also been getting a lot of questions because I know in January of 2026, the TSP is coming out with, you can do Roth conversions inside of your TSP. There's still a lot of unknowns about that right now, folks. And we're not tax advisors. We don't play one on TV. We don't act as one, when we're meeting with you. We say, you know what? Depending on your situation, no matter what, you need to talk to your tax advisor, right? Because there are intricacies inside of that to where we've heard that you can start making the conversion inside of the TSP and pay the taxes out of your TSP. We've heard alternate conversations about, well, you have to have the tax money that you would pay on that conversion outside of the TSP. So there's a lot of different things that are not completely known, but no matter what, we want you to talk to your tax advisor.
Yeah, we're definitely not that.
No.
So we want to make sure that you guys, talk to them first and foremost, get advice from them. And as we find out more, obviously we can give you guys more information, but as of right now, it's just unclear. So it doesn't make sense for us to give advice on that.
Yep.
But we're getting a lot of calls on that, so that's why we wanted to touch on it.
Yep, absolutely. And if you have any questions, you can reach out. If you're a non-postal employee, you can go to our website, gatewayfrc.com. Postal employees, go on over to postalbluebookhelp.com. Click on the information, put your information in there. One of our federal retirement consultants will reach out to you and schedule a one-on-one appointment to find out your specific situation.